just like one of these handfuls. Does that make sense? I'm not gonna be like, "Ugh." Hello, friends. Today we are planting tomatoes. Here's the plan. Tomatoes should have been planted after Mother's Day. And yes, it is after Mother's Day. But I wanted to do it right after Mother's Day because I had a plan. My big plan was to start the seeds early. That way, when the time comes to transplant outside, they weren't this big. Now, why does it matter? Well, I'll tell you why it matters, friends. To me, it matters because I will be planting all the way up to about here, maybe even here. What is that? 18 inches. Good news for me. That's the depth of the hole that I have to dig. Because if you look at your tomato plants along this stem, you will see all these beautiful little glistening hairs. Now with tomatoes, the deeper you plant them, the better, because you're going to get root growth all through this stem, and it's going to make for a much stronger, happier, healthier plant. So all you do, take these off. Now I have all this, so I'm going to bury it right to there. But first, before doing that, I'll be adding amendments to the hole. Let's go over some of those amendments I'm going to be using today. Well, I don't claim to know it all, but I've been doing this for a lot of years and I have had great success. So I keep doing it. I do it year after year, and it remains to show me great outcome, great yields of tomatoes. It's all good. So I'm going to continue to do it. Right down to the amendments that we're putting in the hole. Epsom salt adds a little bit of magnesium. Okay, I'm just going to add not a full handful, just like a one of these handfuls. Does that make sense? I'm not going to be like, "Ugh," a full handful. I'm just going to add in, boom, right in the hole. Banana peel powder. Look at that. Nice. Now, we save our banana peels. I know it sounds crazy, right? But it's free fertilizer, folks. It's free. Either you can dehydrate these in a dehydrator, or you can dehydrate them in the oven by cooking them at a very low heat for a long time. Or if you are as fortunate as we are, which I wouldn't call it fortunate because it was a very expensive piece of equipment, but a freeze dryer. We lay these out on our trays in the freeze dryer, we put it in the freeze dryer, and they come out crisp and clean. And then we put it into a blender, blend it all up, emulsify it into this powder. That's another one. Same type of handful. Eggshells. We save our eggshells too. This is a good source of calcium, believe it or not. But we'll throw these in the oven on like 400, 425 and put them in there for like 15 minutes. That just kind of kills off all the nastiness in there. And we would just keep them in a plastic container. Smash them down until that container fills up. And when it's time, we emulsify it in a blender. Now, there's different schools of thought on this one too, just like everything else. If you just throw whole eggshells in there, they have less surface area. Less surface area equals a lot longer of a time for it to be available. So they'll sit in that hole. It's not going to help your tomato that season. It'll help further down the line. This to me makes it more readily available faster. Tomato tone, same thing, little handful. Bone meal, same thing, little handful. Garden tone, blood meal. And I like to make these so I'm not messing around with a tape measure. This is already measured out at 21 inches spacing is what I use for my tomatoes. Another one, now I'm going to be cheating this time. I've got 30 to 40 tomato plants to dig holes for. I used this for my potatoes this year, and it was a game changer. It's still backbreaking because you're still bending over, but it makes things a lot easier. Next thing, I got this bucket of water here, and I'm gonna dunk each plant first. Just gives it kind of a head start to super hydrate it. I just weeded my beds for the 4th time. The weeds are, I don't even have a word for it. I do have words, but those would be choice words. So moving right along. I think we should get into this action here. My thinker just got to thinking, this trellising system that I'm using now, as you can see, I'll be hanging lines down from here, and it's gonna support the tomato growing up. These are all indeterminate varieties. Indeterminate varieties need trellising. If I put them like this, then they're gonna be right next to each other. So there's gonna be a string coming down here and a string going down there. That would mean that the tomatoes will be growing together like that, unless I start kind of training them to go like that. You know what I'm saying. If I start here, I got 2, 4. Now, if I go diagonally, that was 8. 2, 3. Got to put my thinking cap on and give me like 2 or 3, or let's do minutes. Give me like 5 minutes. All right, after very careful thought. No, just kidding. I don't think that carefully about much. Well, no, I'm doing the zigzag. Went a little bit just like this. Okay, put a hole here, put a hole there. Going over here, put a hole here. Going over there, put a hole there. Making sure, double check, make sure these ones are 21 inches apart. They all have to be 21 inches apart. Let's use this auger. I'm going to start out kind of slow. Okay, all these plants are about the same height, so I'm gonna drop one in. Oh boy, I got a long ways to go, huh? That makes me happy. That's pretty darn deep. We're gonna add our amendments first. Banana powder that I was telling you about. Eggshell. Next up, tomato tone. Like I told you, that about that much. Garden tone. Bone meal. Blood meal. And Epsom salt. Reach in there. Stir it around. Stir it, stir it, stir it, stir it, stir it, stir it, stir it. Stir it, stir it. Yeah. Pop your plant. Oh, look at that. It seemed like yesterday that I actually transplanted these, but look at, it's starting to do the root bound dance. Not too bad down here, so I don't have to really tease the roots that much. Put it in the hole, okay? And you got some clay. Well, then you got some clay, don't you? You got some clay, then you got some clay. Now with this zigzag thing that I did, this is kind of on the edge, which is fine by me, but kind of firm it in a little bit. See, I could have gone a lot deeper, but that hole was deep. All right, and that's it.